Psychologist NGTV with me, Blessing and Tamu. We're still talking about sleep disorders, but for today, our focus is on insomnia. I've waited so long to do this video because, like I said, with all of my friends on the internet, every day I get to hear complaints of insomnia. And I'm thinking, are these complaints genuine? If you had watched our last video talking about an overview of sleep and sleep disorders, you would have heard the criteria for diagnosis of sleep disorders. And I'm sure many of us haven't gone through that evaluation. We have self-diagnosed with insomnia. Anyway, as we progress, you'll learn what insomnia really is. We're going to talk about the causes of insomnia and, most importantly, the treatment of insomnia. Really important. Now let's go straight ahead to what is insomnia. Before I go ahead with defining insomnia, if this is your first time on the Psychologist NGTV, kindly click on subscribe just beneath the video to subscribe to my channel. It is an educational and psychological channel. We talk about everyday issues, lifestyle issues, and especially psychological issues that affect our well-being and our daily lives. Okay, so you don't want to miss this. Please click on subscribe to subscribe to the channel. Enable notification by clicking on the bell sign so you will be notified each time a new video is uploaded. Please like my video if you like it. Please leave a comment. I want to know what you think, and I also would like suggestion on what psychological topics you would want me to discuss. It's a pleasure having you here. For those of you who have been here time and again, thank you for always coming back. I appreciate you all. You're the real MVPs, like they say. Now over to insomnia. What really is insomnia? A lot of people actually think that if they are unable to fall asleep a few days in a month, probably once in a while, just because they have some worries or just because of their health or whatever thing, then they have insomnia. Is that really true? Now, for you to be diagnosed with insomnia, according to DSM-TR Manual for Psychological and Mental Disorders, here are some things that you must experience. First of all, you must experience the difficulty initiating sleep. That's difficulty falling asleep. So when you want to sleep, you can't fall asleep. When you lie on your bed, it's difficult to fall asleep. Secondly, you must have difficulty maintaining sleep. So when you fall asleep, you wake up severally during your sleep, or you wake up too early and you cannot get back to sleep. That's difficulty maintaining sleep. You must also experience non-restorative sleep. That is to say, you are asleep for several hours, but when you wake up, you do not feel rested. So you wake up, you're not rested. You wake up, you still lack energy for the next day and all of that. So you have non-restorative sleep. Now, these symptoms must have endured for at least 1 month. These symptoms must also be associated with some dysfunctionality. That means to say it impairs your functioning, impairs your social life and your occupational life. Now, these symptoms must also not be related to any other sleep disorder or psychological disorder. That is because, as we mentioned in the last video, there's a relationship between insomnia or sleep disorders and other psychological disorders. So where there's a presence of other psychological disorders, that could actually affect your sleep cycle. Okay, and also your experience of insomnia must also not be directly related to drug consumption, because as we know, when you take psychoactive drugs, they affect your sleepiness. Now let's talk for a minute about sleep and alcohol. Now, some people take alcohol to be able to fall asleep. Now, research has shown that small amounts of alcohol might be helpful in initiating sleep. However, alcohol is also implicated in disrupting sleep. So while small amounts of alcohol may help you initiate sleep, it can also disrupt your sleep, leading to anxiety. So you take a little alcohol, it helps you fall asleep, but it disrupts your sleep and leads to anxiety, which makes you consume more alcohol, and the cycle goes on and on and on. So like we said, altogether, psychoactive drugs are bad for your health. Back to insomnia. So for you to be diagnosed with insomnia, this is the criteria. These are the symptoms that must be present, okay? Difficulty initiating sleep, difficulty maintaining sleep, non-restorative sleep, and these symptoms enduring for about 1 month and affecting your functionality, not being related to other psychological disorders, and not being related directly to drug intake. So that's what insomnia is. Now, what causes insomnia? That's something else that we can look at, because when we can, know what causes insomnia and avoid those things, it can actually also, where we can actually help with our insomnia. So what are the causes of insomnia? One of the causes of insomnia is that people who suffer from insomnia may have problems with their biological clock, leading to a delayed temperature rhythm, and so it makes it difficult for them to fall asleep. Now, for you to fall asleep, your body temperature needs to drop for about 2 degrees or more. And the people who have problems with their biological clock, it leads to a delayed temperature rhythm. The temperature does not drop when it should drop, and so they find it difficult falling asleep. Another factor is having high body temperatures. So some people have higher body temperatures than others, and their temperature level does not vary like other people. So they find it difficult to fall asleep. Now, the third cause of insomnia is the use of psychoactive drugs. Psychoactive drugs like alcohol, like caffeine, like cocaine, like marijuana, like tobacco, and all of those can prevent you from falling asleep. So let's stay away from psychoactive drugs. There are no benefits, if you ask me, of psychoactive drugs. And day to day we see people, important and talented people, dying from addiction to psychoactive drugs or an overuse of psychoactive drugs. The artist DMX, American musician DMX, just died because of an overdose of psychoactive drugs. Let's stay away from psychoactive drugs, and these can also be cause you to have insomnia. Also, talking about psychoactive drugs, I hope I mentioned caffeine, which is directly related to our sleep. People take caffeine to keep awake, and that can over time lead to you having insomnia. So stay away from all psychoactive drugs. That will be better for your health. Now, what else can cause insomnia? Now, changes in light, temperature, and noise. We've already mentioned temperature again and again. So if your sleeping environment is not conducive for sleep, it might impact on the quality of your sleep or your ability to fall asleep, and over time that could lead to you having insomnia. So if there's excessive heat, that could disrupt your sleep, or disrupt you falling asleep when you should, and that could lead to insomnia. Now, talking about light, okay, we had talked about blue light. If you refer to our video on blue light, our devices, blue light on our eyes, you will hear how blue light impacts on our sleep. Okay, so when you are exposed to light, blue light, it feeds to your brain that it is still daytime and it's not yet time for you to sleep. So that may delay you falling asleep. Okay, so stay away from blue light, whether from the bulbs that we use, whether from the devices and all of that. Stay away from blue light if you want to fall asleep and have quality sleep. We should also not sleep under light. It's not good for our health. Okay, so when the environment is also too noisy, it can prevent us from falling asleep. There are a lot of other factors that might be subjective. The color of your bedroom, leaving the television set in your bedroom, and other factors, but we talk about them when we talk about the treatment for insomnia. Now, stress can also impact on our sleep, and the impact is, it's a two-way street. So when we are too stressed up, it can affect our sleep. And sometimes if we have a very full field day working, it can make us sleep well. It depends on the situation. So another factor that affects our sleepiness is stress. Now, the presence of psychological disorders can cause insomnia. Like we said, psychological disorders, some of which include anxiety, depression, are closely related with sleep. So when we have a presence of these psychological disorders, they can also cause insomnia. That's why the kind of insomnia we are referring to is primary insomnia, that is not caused by or related to any other psychological disorder. For you to be able to initiate and maintain sleep, you need a conducive environment, and that's in terms of the light, the temperature, noise, and there are also other factors, like the quality of your bed, your mattress. These days, orthopedic mattress seems to be very good for sleeping because it helps deal with backache and all of that. Your sleep position, so you have to check that. The best sleep position is said to be sleeping on your back, but this will depend on whether you have any other health challenges, okay? Because when you have other health challenges, then the sleeping on your back may not be best for you. So you have to check with a specialist, okay? And now, so you need a conducive environment and all of that. Now, talking about light and our sleepiness, let's refer to the video on our devices on us, okay? So another factor that could cause insomnia again is the devices, okay? Because we mentioned that when we stare at our devices, be it the phone, be it the computer screen or the television screen, there's blue light that comes at our eyes from those screens that feeds to our brain that it is not yet nighttime, and so it's not time for us to go asleep. And actually, research has shown that the duration of sleep for children and adults has reduced over the years, and also diagnosis of insomnia has increased over the years, and this seems to be related to the presence of devices in our lives. So many people watch televisions till very late in the night, and that delays the time of sleep and also reduces the duration of sleep. So let's be conscious of that. Another factor that can affect your sleepiness is actually your genetics, so your gene. Some people are genetically predisposed to having insomnia. Okay, so that could actually affect you. Then we talk about a disrupted routine, okay, or change of environment. If your routine is disrupted, it could affect your ability to fall asleep, and over time that could lead to insomnia. And so for some people, change of environment like traveling across time zones could affect their sleep, initiating sleep and maintaining sleep. Okay, we all know that when you travel across time zones, you're jet lagged, you're not able to sleep as well as you used to sleep at home. And research has actually shown that many people find it easier to fall asleep in their own beds than in strange environments. Okay, so that could affect your sleep. Also, unrealistic beliefs about how much sleep we need and how a lack of sleepiness could affect our lives also influences insomnia, can cause insomnia. So for some people, their insomnia is not really about deprivation of sleep, but it's about perception. As a matter of fact, perception is a very huge factor in insomnia, because some people perceive some short deprivation of sleep as a huge problem, and that causes anxiety. Anxiety about insomnia, anxiety about falling asleep, actually causes insomnia and prevents us from falling asleep. Some people go to their beds and they spend several minutes anxious about falling asleep. That anxiety can actually prevent sleep. Okay, so our experience of insomnia is directly related to our perception of our situation. So when you might, not sleep for a number of hours every day, but because you do not perceive that as a problem, and because you wake up the next day feeling strong and rested in spite of how many hours of sleep you had, you do not have a problem. It's not affecting your functioning, it's not affecting you psychologically, then you do not have a problem. So our perception affects our experience of insomnia. Next, we are going to go right on to treatment of insomnia. How can insomnia be treated? Now, we have two types of treatment for insomnia. We have the medical treatment and we have psychological treatment. Now, if you go to a medical practitioner, a doctor, and complain about insomnia, you are likely to be given drugs like benzodiazepine. Disclaimer, this is not a prescription for anyone, because your prescription will be made specific to your situation, But the disadvantage of using drugs to treat insomnia is that if you use this drug for long periods of time, when you withdraw this drug, you can have withdrawal symptoms. So you can develop a dependence on drugs for sleepiness, and that also leads to a cycle, So you wouldn't want to use drugs for long periods of time. Using drugs to treat insomnia is recommended for short periods of time only. Using medication to treat insomnia could also lead to excessive sleepiness during the day. Okay, so if possible, it's better to use psychological treatment for insomnia other than medication. So let's look at psychological treatment for insomnia. If you want to treat insomnia psychologically, the first thing you want to look out is your sleep environment. How comfortable is your sleep environment, okay? And how free of distraction is your sleep environment? It is not advisable to have a television screen in your bedroom, okay? Because what you watch, you're likely to watch the screen, watch television till late in the night, and the more you watch television, it's going to delay the time you fall asleep and affects the duration of time you sleep. So keep your sleeping environment comfortable, free of distractions, okay? Some people's bedroom are so choked up with this and this, so many things. So when they look at this one, they think about the client that's coming tomorrow. When they look at that other item on the table in the room, they think about the debt they are yet to pay. When you look about the other item in the room, you think about the sibling you lost. Keep your bedroom as clean and clear and comfy, cozy as possible. Limit it to a few things. Make sure everything is in the closet somewhere. So when you look around, there are not so many memories that keep you awake, because the memories are able to keep us awake. Also, the colors in your bedroom. Okay, some people use contrasting colors that are so strong and distracting that it can also keep you from falling asleep. The whole entire environment of your room should be comfy, cozy, okay? Dull colors that will enhance sleepiness and all of that. Your room temperature, as much as possible, should be low. So ensure adequate ventilation to your bedroom, okay? Ensure adequate ventilation. Ensure you don't have a television screen in your bedroom. Ensure that you use your bedroom for nothing else but sleep, and for those who are married, sex. Okay, so you shouldn't use your bedroom to work. If you use your bedroom to work, there's a tendency for that to affect the quality of sleep you can have in the same bedroom. So psychological treatments involves consideration of all of these factors and much more. We have cognitive treatment for insomnia, which involves trying to change the person's perception of how much hours of sleep you need as an adult a day, and how your lack of sleepiness or your deprivation of sleep can affect you the next day. Some people have exaggerated ideas of how many hours of sleep they require as adults and how sleep deprivation affects them, and this causes anxiety that leads to more insomnia. So we have cognitive treatment. If you have a need, you should see a psychologist close to you, and I think they can guide you through and help you out of your insomnia. We also have relaxation technique. It's a technique that ensures that you gradually and progressively relax your muscles, and as you do so, you're able to fall asleep and sleep for longer periods of time. You should try that. Actually, it's very good for us to relax, and then helps us sleep well and helps us to be healthy. For some people, you might have to change your bedtime behavior for you to be able to initiate sleep faster and sleep better. We've spoken about that. Your bedtime habits, we've talked about keep television out, ensure that you stop using your phones at least an hour before you fall asleep. A lot of us use our phones right up to the time we fall asleep, and it's not good for us. It delays falling asleep. It affects the quality of our sleep. Actually, when you sleep with your phones close to you or charging your phones around you, the electromagnetic rays from the phones actually impact on our brainwaves and affect our sleep. So we should check that. Try to withdraw from your phone for about an hour or two before your bedtime. That helps you go to bed early and sleep better. And then when you take your bath also before going to bed, I guess that can help reduce your body temperature. And like we said before, reduced body temperature can help us go to sleep faster and sleep better. Okay, so changing your bedtime habits can help. And for those of you already experiencing insomnia, this is a very big tip for you. Don't stay in bed trying to fall asleep, because then you develop anxiety and that would delay your falling asleep. So if you are in bed 15 minutes and you can't fall asleep, get out of bed and engage in some kind of work. Whilst you do that work or some other thing, you will get sleepy and then you can come back to bed and sleep. Okay, don't lie in bed and try to fall asleep. That could negatively impact your sleep initiation, maintenance, and also the quality of your sleep. I hope that we've learned enough to help us get out of insomnia and deal with insomnia in these times. And it's been an exciting one with you. If you have personal questions you want to ask, you can actually leave me a private message. You can leave a comment, or you could actually email me at thepsychologistng@gmail.com. You can leave me a message on Instagram at thepsychologistng, on Twitter at thepsychologistng. Please, you can follow me also on all of these media. And please, if you are yet to subscribe to the Psychologist NG TV, please click on subscribe just beneath the video to subscribe. Leave a comment, like the video. It's been an exciting time. I hope I've helped someone, and I'm available if you want private consultations. Have yourself a beautiful day out there. Much love from me to you. Bye.